What do we have at the foundation of the reading, please? Eight of Wands, Sag energy at the foundation. What do we have at the sacral, please? Four of Pentacles, Capricorn energy at the sacral. And let's get one more. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Death card, Scorpio energy in reverse at the solar plexus. Okay, so the Eight of Wands at the foundation is an energy of quick movement. It can also represent downloads or information that have been transmitted to you in regards to your path moving forward. Now, I feel that quite a lot of you out there are trying to anchor yourself into some sort of new timeline. Maybe there's a vision you have for your life. Maybe there's something you're trying to manifest. This can show up differently for each and every one of you out there. But the Four of Pentacles at the sacral position is telling me that there's something that you're holding on to, something that needs to be sacrificed to the universe in order to get this movement in your life. So this is quite a clear message that the universe is saying, hey, we're ready to go when you're ready to let go. Now, the Death card at the solar plexus, when it's in its upright position, it's a very positive energy. It's an energy of transformation. It's energy of moving on. But when it's in reverse, it speaks about an energy that's very stuck. It's an energy that's resistant to change. Overall, it's an energy of stagnation. So we have a message coming through from the universe, and the universe is saying, hey, go ahead and hand that over, whatever that is for you. And once you do that, then we can have this new beginning. But as long as you're holding on to this, this door is not going to open up because these two things cannot coexist together. Now, the thing that needs to be released is going to be different for each and every one of you. For some people, for probably most people, it's going to have to do with something environmental, probably a toxic energy that's around you, friend, family member, romantic relationship that is keeping you out of alignment with said vision or manifestation or this new beginning as a whole. And if you think about the new beginning, having a very specific frequency that it vibrates at, you need to become the vibrational match to that frequency in order to anchor yourself into that particular timeline where said thing exists. And a lot of you have things around you right now that are keeping you out of alignment with that particular vibration. And for others of you, it's going to have to do with mindsets. It's an energy where you're telling yourself that you'll never be able to pull something off, which is a limiting mindset or belief that you have about yourself. And then for others of you, there's going to be behavioral patterns, addictions, other things that are keeping you out of alignment with said thing. And I would go as far as saying that probably 100% of you right now that are listening to this reading and resonate with this message are going to know exactly what it is that's holding you back. But there's going to be some of you that may not be ready to accept that yet. Now, as I was collecting messages for this particular reading, I wrote down this phrase: some people experience success alone, which is why they are experiencing the success to begin with. And that right there is going to speak to a lot of your situations. There's an energy around you that is keeping you from something. And some of you aren't wanting to rock the boat. Some of you are just trying to keep the peace in some sort of environments. But in order to get this new beginning, there's going to need to be some sort of disruption that you make to the energy to break free of what you may be dealing with and step into this new beginning. And when you start to look at things from a different vantage point, this is something that is requiring you to look at your life from a higher perspective. You have a mission to fulfill. You have a target that the universe is trying to help you meet. And a lot of you aren't ready to come to terms with the fact that your particular environment or the things that you may be engaging with in your everyday waking life are the exact things that are keeping you from this. This is why we have this message of a sacrifice needing to be made here. You know, it's not always about what it is you're trying to achieve in your life. It's about the journey to get there. And usually you don't realize that until you get to that particular vision. You look back on the path and you say, wow, I had to go through this, that, and the other just to get here. And then you usually carry that story with you through the rest of your life. And that's exactly what I'm picking up on this table right now. You're going through the process of getting to that vision. And a lot of you don't even realize this yet. The decisions you make now are what is going to decide if that comes to pass. Just look around at your life and be honest with yourself. Do you think those things that we are picking up inside this reading are in alignment with what it is you see for yourself? And if it's connected to people, do you think those same people would sacrifice their vision for you? Now answer these questions honestly and then decide how to move. Because a lot of you are staring directly down the path that the universe is trying to get you to walk. But taking that first step is seemingly one of the hardest things that you have ever had to do in your life. And when you thought about this moment, you never even considered the fact that you wouldn't be able to take that first step because you didn't know that the universe was going to require this kind of sacrifice from you. This path requires your dedication. This path requires your focus. And there's elements in and around your life right now that are not going to allow you to show up in the capacity that the universe needs you to show up in order to be the proper keeper of this vision and or manifestation. Spirit, what do we have at the heart, please? Chariot, Cancer energy at the heart. This card just followed what I said, because this Chariot next to the Death card in reverse is an energy of lacking focus. There's some sort of influential energy that is hovering around your auric field right now that is not allowing you to show up 100% completely focused on the task at hand, so to speak. And the universe is asking you to audit your life right now. Look around. Do you really want this thing or not? Because you've been praying to get this opportunity. Some of you have been actively trying to manifest this into your life. And now here it is. But the one thing that the universe requires from you, more than the prayers, more than the manifestation techniques, and I just heard more than the candle magic for some of you, has to do with what needs to be released. It's all over this energy. I feel it as well. There's a certain kind of frustration that I'm picking up inside the field. I also feel that a lot of you have been here before. And what I mean by that is there's something going on astrologically and with your particular birth charts right now where it feels like it's not so much deja vu. I just feel energetically portals have opened up for you before. Opportunities have been presented to you before. And you may have sacrificed those opportunities without even being fully aware of it, because what is being asked of you right here existed when you were presented with those opportunities. I just heard stacking timelines. Now, I feel astrologically speaking, you may be sitting on a parallel timeline to a point in the past when you had to let something go due to some sort of foreign energy in and around your life. And when I say foreign energy, this is just my way of speaking about the thing that is hovering around your life and keeping you from being the vibrational match to your target, okay? You know, if you want to reduce all of this to very basic manifestation and strip away all of the noise, strip away all of the details, strip away the people, strip away the behavioral patterns, and look at this thing like it's an equation, okay? As I mentioned, you have your target right here. It's vibrating at a certain frequency. And then here you are over here, dealing with everything you deal with in your life. And you're trying to align with this thing, and this thing is just eluding you. Sort of like when you're trying to put two magnets together, and they just won't go together, right? It's the same sort of thing. And this is actually what makes you a master manifester. To take responsibility, to take accountability, and extract those things from your life that are not allowing you to become the vibrational match to said target. It's not personal. It's just math. That's it. The universe isn't punishing you. It could be said that you're punishing yourself by dealing with those things and not allowing yourself to experience this. But again, it's just math. That's it. It's up to you to show up as the vibrational match to this. There is nothing personal here. It all has to do with what you are allowing to keep you from said target. And there's no one else in existence that can remove those things that keep you from said target, that is up to you. That is your job. That is the sacrifice. Now, whenever I channel through messages similar to this one, there's always that odd comment or two of people leaving a laundry list as to why they can't align with that particular manifestation. They like to tell me all of the things that they're dealing with. And look, I get it, but all that says is that you don't really want it, okay? And if you are dealing with some real everyday circumstances that actually keep you from something, it just means that you have stacked a certain collection of decisions to get yourself to that point. And you're the only person that can get yourself out of that situation. It's never anything personal from the universe, ever. That's simply not the relationship that we have with it. It always has to do with how far we have wandered off of our path, so to speak. And we all do. We have all wandered off our path. In fact, most of us didn't even begin to start waking up to the reality of our situation until we were so far off our path, it seemed like it was an impossible feat to get back. And that's where some of you are right now. But I can tell you, as somebody who has been through this, you can certainly get back there. Because without going into all of the details of my situation when I was going through this, all I can tell you is, if I can do it, you can certainly do it too. What do we have at the throat, please, Spirit? Strength card, Leo energy at the throat. A lot of you just needed to hear that it's not personal, okay? Now, sure, karma is a factor, but when you also start to look at karma as more of, well, it's like another sort of equation. You make a decision, and that decision equals a certain result in your life. Whether that's a positive one or a negative one, it's entirely your responsibility. And the universe just reacts to that. The universe doesn't get angry. The universe doesn't get happy. It's just a current that flows through our life. It doesn't judge. And it could be argued, depending on how you look at it, that it doesn't even reward you. You reward yourself based on the good decisions that you stack on your path. And this is a very encouraging message to channel through right now, because it tells us that you don't need to wait for anything outside of you to turn around what it is you may be coming up against inside your everyday waking life. It all comes down to decisions that you need to stack that create the movement in your life. So what does this all mean? Well, the strength card at the throat here is telling me that you have the power to make something happen here. Nothing is outside of your control. In fact, some of you out there are giving up the very control you don't even realize you have. Think about that. We live in a world where these things called stand-down tactics have been bombarding us from the first breath we have ever taken. We have been led to think that the power is outside of us, that we need to seek something else in order to meet a certain target or to become the thing that we want to become. But it's simply not true. In fact, the very idea that we need to seek something outside of us is what moves us further away. And just to be clear, karma is the result of our decisions. So if we have spent a life making poor decisions, or decisions that were made from a place of desperation, or maybe we've made a collection of decisions that are influenced by some sort of toxic environment that we have been exposed to. Whatever it is, you have the opportunity to change that. It's just a matter of taking full responsibility for the fact that those decisions, whether you deem them as outside of your control when you made them or not, were still decisions that were made. And it's up to you to work through those decisions to realign yourself on your path. And there's simply no shortcut around that. Karmic debt is just that. It's debt. Think about when you have some sort of debt in the real world. Maybe you didn't pay a bill or something and it lowered your credit score, and now you can't get some sort of financial opportunity over here until you clear up that debt. It's exactly the same thing. And I say all this to say that the sooner you accept this as truth and the sooner you get to work in these particular spaces on whatever that may be for you, the sooner you're going to be at your destination. And again, I have been through this. This is tried and true. I reached a point in my life where I realized that I had really dug myself into a hole. I made a collection of really poor decisions, a lot of which I didn't realize at the time were moving me further and further away from what it was I was trying to achieve. In fact, It was when I was in that hole, so to speak, did I really start to understand how energy and karma worked. And I really started to study spirituality, which resulted in me even being here. So it all happened for a reason. And that is exactly why a lot of you may be in some of the situations you're in right now that you may be having a difficult time trying to overcome. You're there for a reason. There's something that the universe wants you to extract from that experience. And I was speaking about something similar in the members reading. I do not believe that anything happens by coincidence. I truly believe, based on my personal experience, that everything in every waking moment happens for a reason. It may not be that significant when you're going through it, but it could be that that particular thing you're experiencing in that moment decides whether or not you align with something further down your path. Now, a really basic way of looking at this is like you preparing to leave your house and get in your car and drive somewhere. And just before you get in your car, you think to yourself, did I leave the stove on? For the most part, you know you didn't leave it on, but you just feel like you need to go back in there and check to see if you left that stove on. So sure enough, when you go inside, the stove wasn't on. You go back out to your car and you're on your way. All of a sudden, you encounter some traffic, and a block or two in front of you, there's a car accident. You start to realize, had I not gone and checked on my stove, I could have been in that car accident. This is an example of how each and every one of our decisions stack over time, whether they seem significant in the moment or not. What do we have? The third eye, please, Spirit? 9 of Wands. I was really seeing this 9 of Wands in my mind's eye a bit further back in the reading, because what we're channeling through is a 9 of Wands energy. This is the boundary that you need to put up between you and some sort of energy here. Something is in the field that is keeping you from something. Whether it's something external to you or not, it all comes down to decisions that you have the power to make. Whether you want to accept that right now in this very moment is entirely up to you. But based on what I'm picking up in this reading, you can do it. The only thing that's actually in your way is that part of you that says you can't. And it, again, all comes down to how bad you really want something. You know, some of you are so used to things being a certain way that when the new opportunity shows up for you, you don't even know how to accept it. And that's also a very real sort of thing that a lot of people encounter as well. They're actively manifesting, trying to align with something, and then it shows up and they get cold feet, or they realize what is actually expected of them to anchor themselves into that new timeline. And when they look around at their life, they start to realize that the whole reason why they didn't get the opportunity to anchor themselves into that timeline at an earlier date was because of what they have been dealing with this entire time. This is that moment when you say, oh, my entire life has been completely out of alignment with said vision. Now I get it. It's like the universe responds to you and says, hey, we've never been trying to keep you from this, but you need to understand the law of vibration here. Your frequency doesn't lie. So if you are not seeing something show up in your life, it's because there's something in and around your life that is deflecting it. And it all sounds simple enough. Remove this and start working through the karmic debris, and you'll get to this destination. But the amount of people that decide that they just don't want to do that, and that all comes down to faith, because when your faith is unshakable, you'll get to work immediately because you know that it's going to come to pass. And this is also something I came to learn when I was going through my own situations regarding these sorts of karmic cycles. Faith is the key. Once you start working on your relationship with the universe, you start to realize that you're an extension of Source, that you're an expression of the universe, having this human experience, and that the universe is really just waiting for you to catch up so you can have the most awesome experience possible. And again, we're not born knowing all of this. It's just something we have to discover as we make our way through life. Hearing myself speak these words, I feel honored that I can even deliver this sort of message to all of you out there that are going through it. But if you just open yourself up to what I'm saying here, you work on your faith, and you just give yourself a fighting chance, things will turn around in your favor. Slowly but surely, you'll get there. The only force that is truly keeping you from anything is you. That's it. Sure, there'll be all these other outside sort of things that you have to navigate on your path, the people, the jealousy, the envy, whatever it is you're dealing with. We all have something, all the different obstacles that are stacked against us. But if you understand the fundamentals of what I'm saying here, you'll realize that none of it can keep you from what is meant for you. Sure, things can slow you down and make it more difficult for you, but even that, in time, you start to realize that a lot of that comes down to your reaction, what things you allow to take power and focus from you in the moment. What do we have at the crown, please, Spirit? Knight of Wands, fire energy at the crown. So now here we are. With this Knight of Wands at the crown, I'm seeing you breaking through this energy. You're starting to realize that the only things that are standing in your way are the things you're giving power to. The only things standing in your way are the things you say are standing in your way, is really what we're trying to get at here. And that realization is exactly why you're about to have a lot of movement in your life. You know, a simple takeaway of all of this right now would be you looking around at your life and saying, you know what? Screw this. I don't need to deal with this anymore. This actually isn't in my way. I know what I need to do now. I'm taking responsibility for myself. I'm taking accountability, and I'm going to start working through this karmic debris, because there's nothing outside of my own decisions that I have made that is keeping me from something. All I need to do is grab a broom and go to town. And this is just really speaking about you doing the absolute best you can to clear up any of the karmic debris that is keeping you from reaching through to the other side. Think about it like this. When we're born, we're placed onto this path. And then as we start to grow, we make all these different decisions. Some good, some bad. But the sum total of those decisions always decides where we're at in accordance with that path. And most of us make these decisions and we end up over here in the valley of darkness. And then all of a sudden we go through some sort of awakening. We realize, oh my God, I need to make my way back to my path here. And all that distance in between is the karmic debris that you need to work through to get back to your path. And then right on the bottom of the deck, we have the tower. Okay, so the tower is the destruction that you bring to these false securities in your life that are keeping you from your path. You were born in alignment, and life knocked you out of it. And it's up to you to realign yourself with that path. And a lot of people usually leave comments after I make a statement like that and say, why would the universe do that to us? Why would God do that to us? God is evil, this and that, the universe is stupid, and all this sort of stuff. And all I can really say to that is that we have free will. So think about it as God observing us, or source, or whoever you look to as your supreme being. Think about it as the universe just observing and reacting to how we're moving, whether that's good, whether it's bad. But you can also directly associate generational karma to this, because a lot of us make decisions from a very young age by way of what influences us, what's in our environment, our parents, our families. So if we come from families that made very poor decisions, then we likely need to work through those poor decisions that our families made. You know, a lot of the decisions that we make, and I can't speak for every single person who's listening to this reading because everybody's going through something different. And at the end of the day, we always have to take accountability for our own actions. But in quite a number of cases, a lot of the decisions that many of you made were the result of what you witnessed, what you experienced. You didn't know any better at the time because maybe you made some of these decisions when you were younger. But you waking up to that and saying, yeah, this isn't right. This isn't serving me on my path. That's you waking up to generational conditioning and generational karma that the universe is encouraging you to work through. So then you start working through that. This is you literally breaking generational chains for your family. And for those of you who have children, it becomes a little bit easier to see how this can be something that is very useful, because now you're teaching your children a different way. They're not going to end up in the valley of darkness like you did as a result of what you were taught. This is a very deep, very complex reading that we're doing here. But I do feel that those of you that this message is intended for will understand everything that I'm speaking about without having to think too hard about it. You'll just get it. What do we have at the foundation of the reading, please, Spirit? Chariot again. at the foundation. Now, this Chariot card from this deck is Chariot red in its negative polarity. It's an energy that's lacking direction, follows everything we just said perfectly. This is the universe, this is the divine, trying to make you understand that nothing is being kept from you. You were just born into a life where you weren't given a fighting chance. You've had to work through all of this karmic debris, and a lot of it was imposed upon you without you even having a say-so in it. That's what generational karma is. But the universe has chosen you to break that generational conditioning, and they're using this vision, this target that you have for yourself, as the fuel to do it. In other words, this is the universe saying, hey, if you work through this, we're going to align you with this vision. That's how this works. This is what the path of a chain breaker looks like. You wake up to the fact that you're here for a very specific reason, but the universe needs you to kill two birds with one stone. You're going to work as hard as possible to align with this life you want for yourself, all while working through the karmic debris that those that came before you may have imposed upon you without you having a say in the matter, and or the karmic debris that you have accumulated on your path up until this very moment. Whatever it is that you need to overcome, it's not as bad as you think. It just feels overwhelming until you begin working through it. But what I can tell you, again, based on my own experience, it goes by much quicker than you think. And the more dedicated you are to working in that space, the sooner you get through it. And that will make more sense to you once you start getting in the weeds, so to speak. What do we have? The sacral, please? Six of Wands, Leo energy at the sacral. Now, this is very interesting. We have this Four of Pentacles here, and this individual sitting there looking at this mountain, and they're clutching on to the four coins. Now, the four coins here is just really representing what it is you're holding on to that you don't want to let go of in order to experience this breakthrough. And I feel that the mountain here, after everything we've channeled through, is representing, let's say, the obstacle of the karma that you need to work through, right? The generational karma, what needs to be sacrificed here. And this Six of Wands underneath it is an energy of feeling overwhelmed. So it gives understanding what it is you need to work through, what the sacrifice is, and feeling like you want to give up. Okay. And all I can tell you here is that our relationship with the universe, again, is not one where the universe coddles us. We have a very neutral relationship with the universe. It's just all based on how we react. It's like we react to something, and then the universe logs that and says, okay, well, they reacted this way. And there's no emotion they put to that. But the way we react to something is literally how our life unfolds around us. So the more you hesitate and feel overwhelmed by something, the more of that feeling you're going to get. Or if you say, I'm ready, I'm going to work through this, then the easier it's going to be to work through that space and the faster it's going to go. You set the tone for your life always. But having said that, I do realize, because I've certainly been there, that when you start out on this path and you're trying to implement this new mindset, it's much easier said than done. You don't really feel the response from the universe and from your environment immediately. It takes a little bit of time. It's like you have to stack the decisions that are based around this mindset before you start to see it show up in your everyday waking life. Ooh, okay. We're going to take, I only need one of these. We're going to take the Tower, and then we'll consider this Six of Swords. Okay, so Tower, Mars, Aries, Scorpio energy here underneath the Death card in reverse at the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is Scorpionic and Aries energy, okay? And this is all Aries and Scorpio energy. So Pluto, Mars energy right here. This is all about death and rebirth, destruction, the shattering of false foundations in your life as a means to build something that is more stabilized in truth in who you really are. The Tower from this particular deck is like Tower in its negative polarity. It's an energy that is resisting the changes. Again, with that Death card in reverse, we're really doubling down on that message. It's an energy that's resisting the changes that the divine is encouraging you to make right now. In other words, the universe is setting up a collection of events in your life that are trying to push you in this direction, the direction of change. But some of you are resisting this. Some of you just can't find it in yourself to do what you know you need to do to bring forward the change because you've wandered off too far into the valley of darkness, so to speak. But all I can tell you is that if that is you, there is a reason why you have wandered off a little further than others. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you were cursed in any way. Rather, it's because the universe chose you to go a little deeper into that heavily wooded region because you were best suited for the job. They know you could handle it. Those who can turn it all around after wandering that far off the path are built different. The divine chose you because you've done it before in past lives. They incarnated you into a family that had some of the deepest and darkest generational karma and trauma that one could ever imagine, which is why a lot of you ended up so far off the path. It's like you were sent on a top secret rescue mission. It's an agreement between you and Source. No one will ever understand. No one will ever know about it. What do we have at the heart, please, Spirit? Okay, there's two sides. We're going to start on this side first. All right. That is the High Priestess red in its negative polarity. This is an energy of not listening to your inner voice. In other words, it's like saying that the universe has sent you the mission statement, told you what's up here in some capacity, but your faith is waning, which, as I mentioned, is the key to all of this. And then on this side of the card, we have the Ten of Cups, and it says right there, Divine Warrior. Now, whenever I get this Ten of Cups, it shows us your higher self and you. There's an energy of alignment here. It's like your higher self is trying to get you to remember. Remember what it is you were sent here to do. A lot of you have just been so consumed by the everyday grind of life that the idea of all of this is just so far out of the realms of possibility to you that you don't even consider it, which again comes back to your faith. So this message right here is really just meant to help you remember. It's meant to help you find your way back. It's meant to help you clear out the noise so you can see what it is you're working with here. This Ten of Cups is also an energy of success, alignment, happiness. This is the divine saying, hey, we're not keeping you from anything. But in order to get you there, this is the route you need to take. Because whether you realize this or not, there's certain decisions that have been made in your life, whether you made these decisions or whether you had no control over these decisions, because again, maybe they were made when you were younger, they still caused you to end up in this space, right? In the valley of darkness over here. We're just trying to help you find your way back. We have to walk you through the valley of darkness. You have to go through this heavily wooded region, over these mountain tops. And then once you're on the other side of that, you're going to start to see your path again. Now, all of this is just my way of explaining to you the decisions that we all make that can cause us to fall out of alignment. We've all done it. We've all been there. These are the consequences for the decisions, for the actions. And to further reiterate, the ones that were made outside of your control is the generational karma that was applied to your life that the divine is wanting you to work through. This is a really excellent way of thinking about generational karma as well. The karma that was imposed upon your life without you having a say-so in the matter. What do we have at the throat, please, Spirit? Death card. Upright. Now we begin. What once held you back, what you once deemed as an obstacle, you have now committed to overcoming. Death card upright. Endings and rebirth. God, the end of the universe. This is you making the decision to self-empower and go for it. And this strength card is kind of funny to me because it's clearly a lion that looks like they're being rushed into some sort of emergency surgery. And it's like she's shaking the lion like, you're a lion. What's wrong with you? you're a lion. And the lion's like, but I can't. I'm so scared. It's so overwhelming. I can't work through all that karma. But you're a lion. And then right here, yes, that's right. I am a lion. In other words, this right here is an energy of you realizing just how powerful you are. All decisions here are ones that are influenced by the mind. Think about that. The only thing telling you you can't do something is a voice that's probably echoing and or rattling around in the subconscious halls of your mind that probably doesn't even belong to you anyway. What do we have at the third eye, please, Spirit? Six of Cups, Scorpio energy at the third eye. Here comes the blessing. It says right here, motivation lifts up those who are fallen and humiliated. God who steers all men. The boundary and the blessing. This is a complete turnaround right here. Navigating this portion of the reading felt like I was trying to walk through quicksand. The energy was just stubborn and dense, and I could just feel the generational trauma. But now it completely lets up. 10 of Cups, Death card, 6 of Cups. Remember who you are. Remember how powerful you are. Become the vibrational match to that which you are trying to manifest into your life. Boom, 6 of Cups. The blessing comes through. All right, Spirit, let's close out this reading. What do we have at the crown, please? 10 of Pentacles, Virgo energy at the crown to close out the reading. Now, we couldn't have asked for a better card to end this reading because the 10 of Pentacles is an energy that represents your divine inheritance, which is all connected to the generational karma, the generational trauma that all of you are clearly having to work through here. This is the result of that. The 10 of Pentacles is the wealthiest card in the tarot. For a lot of you, this vision that you have, that's right there on the horizon line, you see it, but it just feels like it's far away. That's going to lead to this 10 of Pentacles here. This is extreme wealth. This is your divine inheritance. And all things considered, this is a perfect reading. As complex and layered as it is, it has a beginning and it has an end. It has a mission. It has a purpose. It has a spark and it has a light. So I certainly hope that this reading here can provide you with the friction to your match to spark that light. All right. This is what I have for all of you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Go ahead and hit that hype button for me if you feel you got something useful from this reading. Information for personal readings can be found in the description down below. If you would like to join the membership side of my channel, where I upload additional videos each week, you can also find those links in the description down below. I've also extended the summer sale that I have at my store, PLUTOBEANstudio.com. You can find a lot of the items in the sidebar. I would also like to extend my gratitude to everybody who continues to support and donate to my channel. But in closing, I would like to know how this reading resonated with you, so drop me a heart and or a comment, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Take care.